Hello friend, this is the second lecture of Mughal Empire, and in this lecture we will learn about time period of 1550 to 1605 AD. Uh, in last lecture we learned about Sher Sasuri, how Sher Sasuri took the control of Delhi after Battle of Kannauj. So after losing the Battle of Kannauj in 1540, Humayun escaped to Sindh and he married Hamida Banu Begum on his way to Sindh, and he took shelter at Amarkot under a Hindu ruler. Akbar was born in 1542 at Amarkot. When Humayun moved to Iran to seek help from Safavid ruler, young Akbar was captured by his uncle Kamran. And Kamran was ruler of Kabul and Kandahar region at that time. In Iran, Humayun was welcomed in a grand manner. The Safavid ruler of Iran asked Humayun to get converted into Shia Islam. And to get support of Safavid ruler, Humayun embraced Shia Islam in Iran. Later, he converted to Sunni Islam when he came back to India, but in Iran, he converted to Shia. The Safavid ruler granted a Persian force to Humayun for recapturing his lost empire with one condition. The condition was ceding the territory of Kandahar to Safavid ruler. So Kandahar was bone of contention between Safavid ruler and Mughal Empire. We will see that in 1545 he captured the Kandahar region and ceded it to Safavid ruler. Later he captured Kabul from his brother Kamran and got united with his son Akbar. After some time he took the control of Kandahar in his hand. On the invitation of Humayun, famous Iranian painter Mir Sayyad Ali and Abdus Samad came to Kabul in 1549, and they contributed to the miniature painting of Mughal Empire. Humayun ruled the Kabul and Kandahar region from 1545 to 1555, and when the disintegration of Sur Empire started in 1554, after the death of Islam Shah, successor of Sher Sasuri, Humayun took the advantage of situation and captured the throne of Delhi. So in May 1555, Battle of Machiwada happened, and this battle was between Humayun on one side and Sur Empire on another side. And a second battle happened on 22 June 1555, and it was Battle of Sirhind. It was fought between Humayun and Sikandar Sasuri on other side. Uh, After the Battle of Sirhind, the Mughal Empire was re-established in Delhi region, and the emperor was Humayun. In 1555, Adil Shah, nephew of Sher Shah, captured the Bengal region. So, Delhi region was ruled by Mughal Empire, and Bengal region was under Suri Empire. Humayun ruled Delhi for next 6 months. After that, he died by falling down the stairs of a library at Delhi in January 1556. So there is a statement regarding Humayun that he tumbled throughout his life and tumbled out of it. When Humayun died, Adil Shah took advantage of the death of Humayun and sent an army in command of Hemu or Hemchandra to capture the Delhi region and restore the Sur Empire. As soon as Hemu captured the throne of Delhi in 1556, he took the title of Vikramaditya, and he tried to stabilize a new kingdom, uh, Hemchandra kingdom, not the Sur Empire. So, and at that time, 13-year young Akbar, along with Bairam Khan, was in Punjab region, and they were in Punjab to suppress a revolt. Regarding Humayun brought two Iranian painters with him from Iran. One is Mir Sayyad Ali and another one is Abdus Samad. These painters worked under the patronage of Akbar and led to the development of Tutinama and Hamjanama. Basically, they added painting in Tutinama and Hamjanama. The Mughal school of miniature painting developed because of the contribution of Mir Sayyad Ali and Abdus Samad. And Humayun's tomb at Delhi was the first garden tomb of India, and it was built by Ba- Hamida Banu Begum. And Hamida Banu Begum was widow of Humayun. And Humayunama in Persian language was written by Gulbadan Begum. Gulbadan Begum was sister of Humayun and she wrote Humayunama on the request of Akbar. So here is the territorial map. Uh, During the reign of Humayun, he captured from Kabul region to Bihar region, and in Bengal there was Bengal Sultanate or Suri Empire. Then in South India there was Ahmednagar, Bijapur, Golconda, Berar, and Bidar, and in southern region there was Vijayanagar kingdom. The next emperor was Akbar. The next Mughal emperor was Akbar. After the death of Humayun, Akbar took the charge. And in initial period, he acted as a shadow ruler from 1556 to 1561. So from 1556 to 1561, it was age of Bairam Khan, and Akbar acted as a shadow ruler. And from 1561 to 1567, age of rebellion. And within this time period is a smaller time period, 1560 to 1564, is known as uh, Parda administration or Petticoat administration. Then from 1567 to 1605, there was age of expansion and consolidation. So we will see how these three age, what is the role of these three age in the life of Akbar. Akbar born to Hamida Banu Begum at Amarkot in 1542 when Humayun was in exile. Later, Akbar was captured by Kamran and raised by Kamran's wife. And we get this detail from Akbarnama. He reunited with his parents Humayun and Hamida Banu Begum at the age of 3 when Humayun captured the Kandahar region from Kamran in 1545. In 1556, at the age of 13, he was at the Punjab campaign with Bairam Khan when Humayun died. After the death of Humayun, the throne of Delhi was captured by Hemchandra Vikramaditya, a commander of uh, Suri Empire. Akbar was crowned at Kalanur, Punjab in 1556. Later, the army marched to Delhi under the leadership of Bairam Khan or Akbar. And second battle of Panipat happened in 1556. Um, on one side there was Akbar with Bairam Khan, and on another side there was Hemchandra Vikramaditya. And after winning the second battle of Panipat, uh, Akbar made capital at Agra instead of Delhi in 1560, and he built Red Fort at Agra to rule from Agra. The battle was won by Akbar under Bairam Khan, and Hemu got killed in this battle. Bairam Khan took the post of Vakil with the title Khane Khan. He started ruling as a regent of young Akbar. When Bairam Khan started dominating in 1560, uh, Akbar, at the age of 18, secretly came to Delhi from Agra, and at Delhi he dismissed Bairam Khan from his office and asked all nobles to submit to Akbar. So Bairam Khan was not happy with this, and a battle was fought between Akbar army and Bairam Khan, and this was Battle of Tilwara. And Bairam Khan lost this Battle of Tilwara. Bairam Khan retired in 1561, and Bairam Khan was sent to Hajj Yatra to Makkah. While he was going through Ahmedabad, he was killed by an aggrieved Afghan noble. Next is Age of Rebellion from 1561 to 1567. So previously, Bairam Khan used to control the Mughal Empire, and after the death of Bairam Khan, many people uh, tried to capture the control of Mughal Empire. After the death of Bairam Khan, Akbar married the younger wife of Bairam Khan and treated her son Abdul Rahim Khane Khana as his own son. Although Akbar managed to take complete control in his hand, in the year 1561 he faced a number of rebellions in his territory. At the time when Baram Khan refused to resign, many nobles tried to grab the power, including his foster mother Maham Anga and her relatives. After the death of Baram Khan, many submitted to Akbar, but Adam Khan, son of Maham Anga, tried to dominate. In 1561, Malwa region, Mandu, was ruled by Baj Bahadur and a famous queen, Rani Roopmati. Adam Khan led an expedition to Malwa and defeated Baj Bahadur. And after getting defeated, Queen Roopmati committed suicide instead of joining Adam Khan harem. So regarding Mandu or Malwa region, it was under the rule of Baj Bahadur. Then Adam Khan attacked and took control under the ruler Akbar. Then again, Baj Bahadur took control of Mandu region. Then Akbar led a campaign to Mandu and he recaptured the Malwa region. And finally, Baj Bahadur was installed at Malwa region at Mandu as Akbar Mansabdar in 1570. So, so Malwa region was under the control of Baj Bahadur, but Baj Bahadur accepted the suzerainty of Mughal Empire in 1570. When Akbar removed Adam Khan from command, Adam Khan tried to capture the post of Wazir by killing the current Wazir. This action enraged Akbar, and on the order of Akbar, he was thrown down from the top of a fort in 1561. Even after killing Adam Khan brutally, Akbar faced continued rebellion from Uzbek nobles, and finally, the Uzbek rebellion came to an end in 1567. In 1567, in 1562, Akbar got married to Marimud Jaman, and her original name was Harkabai. Harkabai was daughter of King Bharmel of Amer, and by historians she was wrongly named as Jodhabai. Actually, she was not Jodhabai. Jodhabai was uh, daughter-in-law of Akbar, and it was Harkabai, to whom historian wrongly named as Jodhabai. In 1500, after getting married to a Rajput princess, in 1562 he abolished religious conversion of slave, and in 1563 he abolished pilgrim tax, and in 1564 he abolished jizya tax. The time period of 1560 to 1564 is known as Parda administration or petticoat administration. Akbar remained under the partial influence of ladies of the harem, and during this time period, from 1560 to 1562, the petticoat administration was dominated by Mahamanga. So this the 2 year of starting was dominated by Mahamanga, then later half was dominated by other ladies of Haram. Asaf Khan. Asaf Khan was Uzbek governor of Allahabad. He led an expedition to Garha kingdom of Gondwana. Uh, and this region, Gondwana, was ruled by Queen Durgavati. Um, so a battle happened in 1564 between Durgavati and Asaf Khan. Durgavati fought gallantly, but in the end, she stabbed herself instead of getting captured. So here is the map um, that shows the Mughal Empire when Akbar ruled under the when there was age of rebellion. So Baj Bahadur attacked Malwa region, Mandu region, and Mandu was ruled by Adam Khan attacked Malwa region or Mandu region, and Mandu region was under control of Baj Bahadur. Then there was another govern. There was another army general named Asaf Khan, and he attacked Gondwana region, and Gondwana region was under rule of Rani Durgavati. So, two campaign led by uh, army army general of Akbar. One is Adam Khan, and another one is by Asaf Khan. Mughal Empire, age of expansion and consolidation. And this time period is from 1567 to 1605. In 1562, Akbar got married to Harkabai, a Rajput princess of Amer region. In 1500, and because of getting married to a Rajput princess, he gets support from the ruler of Amer region and Rajput ruler. In 1567, Akbar led an expedition to capture Chittor region, and at that time, Chittor was under control of Rana Uday Singh. Rana Uday Singh was father of Maharana Pratap. So he was able to control the Chittor region, but in 1572, Maharana Pratap recaptured the Chittor from Mughal. And in 1576, there was Battle of Haldigati between Maharana Pratap and Man Singh of Amer region. And Man Singh was army general of Akbar. After capturing Chittor uh, and Ranthambore region in 1568, all Rajput rulers accepted the overlordship of Akbar except Mewar, who continued to resist. Mewar is a bigger territory than Chittor, and basically it was ruled by Uday Singh and Rana Pratap. Maharana Pratap. In 1569, childless Akbar visited Sikri region to get the blessing of Salim Chishti. And after the birth of Salim or Jahangir, he established Fatehpur Sikri as the new Mughal capital. In 1575, he built Ibadat Khana at Fatehpur Sikri. Ibadat Khana was a place where discussion on religious and spiritual themes happened. It was debate house on religion, and initially it was open for Muslim only. Later, scholars from different religion used to debate at Ibadat Khana, including atheists. And because of this discussion, Akbar issued Majhar in 1579 and founded a new religion, Dine Ilahi, in 1582. Later, he started the Ilahi era in 1583, and Akbar propagated a philosophy of Sulahi Kul, or peace to all. But Baroni, a contemporary author, was bitter critic of Akbar's religious experiment. And Sheikh Mubarak was the religious guru of Akbar, and Akbar's new religious policy was drafted by Sheikh Mubarak's son Abul Faizi. In 1585, Akbar shifted the capital to Lahore from Fatehpur Sikri because of the Punjab campaign, or uh, Northwest Frontier campaign, and he shifted back capital to Agra in 1598. In 1602, he built Buland Darwaja at Fatehpur Sikri to commemorate the victory of Gujarat. Uh, in 1573, he uh, he win over region, and after 30 years, to celebrate the victory of Gujarat, he built Buland Darwaja at Fatehpur Sikri, and on Buland Darwaja there was Quranic verses in Naqsh script. So here was the Mughal Empire, uh, and there was Bengal Sultanate and Mughal Empire. So, in the age of expansion, many campaign was started by Akbar. The first campaign was against Mewar region, and after that he led second expedition to Gujarat region, then Bengal region, then Western Bengal region. The third expedition is toward Western Bengal region, and the fourth expedition is Core Bengal region, core territory, and the fifth expedition was toward Northwest region, and the sixth expedition was toward Ahmednagar. So after this expedition, the Mughal Empire get expanded under the reign of Akbar. So in the right hand side you can see the expanded Mughal Empire. And the Mughal Empire shared boundary region. The Mughal Empire shared their boundary with Safavid ruler and Uzbek rulers. And at that time, three important dynasty who ruled. And the world was Ottoman Empire, then Safavid ruler, then Uzbek, and then Mughal Empire. And in southern region, there was three important kingdom who three important kingdom. One was Ahmednagar, then another one was Bijapur, and the third one was Golconda. So we will see what happened in western boundary and what happened in southern boundary. But in Western Front, they tried to maintain a friendly relation with Safavid rulers, and Uzbek tried to take Mughal in their side. But they were friendly with Safavid, so they did not supported Uzbek. Age of expansion and consolidation from 1567 to 1605. From 1556 to 1561, there was age of Baram Khan, or in this time period, Akbar acted as a shadow ruler. And from 1561 to 1567, there was age of rebellion. And from 1560 to 1564, there was petticoat administration or Parda administration. Then from 1567 to 1605, there was age of expansion and consolidation. Regarding military conquest, which started after 1567, the first campaign was against Chittor in 1568, and then in the same year he led a campaign against Ranthambore. After these two campaigns in Mewar region, all the Rajput rulers submitted to Akbar. And then in 1572, he led an expedition to Gujarat region. And at that time, Gujarat was ruled by Muzaffar Shah. uh, Muzaffar Shah Mirza. And in the same year, 1572, Berar region was annexed by Ahmednagar. There was five kingdom: Ahmednagar, Bijapur, Golconda, Berar, and Bidar. So in 1572, Berar region was annexed by Ahmednagar, and in 1574, uh, Akbar led a campaign in Bihar region or Western Bengal region. In 1575, he led an expedition to Bengal region, core Bengal region, and Daud Khan, last Afghan ruler of Indian territory, lost the battle, and Akbar stabilized Mughal Empire in Bengal region. In 1576, there was Battle of Haldigati between Maharana Pratap and Akbar, and it was for the control of Chittor. And then in 1581, there was Kabul rebellion. Then in 1586, Birbal died in campaign against Afghan rebellion. And in 1589, there was Kashmir rebellion. And in last, he led Deccan campaign or in South India. From 1595, he led a campaign against Ahmednagar. And at that time, Berar was ceded to Mughal Empire, and Ahmednagar accepted the Mughal suzerainty, and Chand Bibi got killed in 1599. Chand Bibi was daughter of Ahmednagar ruler, and she was wife of Bijapur ruler. And in 1599 she was widow, so she took the control of both Ahmednagar and Bijapur. In 1601, there was revolt in Ahmednagar against the dominance of Mughal. So again there was a fight between Mughal Empire and Ahmednagar, and this time Khandesh was ceded to Mughal, and Battle of Asirgarh was last battle of Akbar. Regarding capital shift, there are many instances when Akbar shifted the capital. After Second Battle of Panipat in 1556, he ruled from Delhi region from 1556 to 1560, and in 1560 he shifted the capital to Agra, and he ruled from Agra from 1560 to 1571, and after that he shifted capital to Fatehpur Sikri, and he ruled from Fatehpur Sikri from 1571 to 1585. Then he shifted the capital to Lahore in 1585 to 1598. And he shifted capital to Lahore because there was rebellion in northwest region, and northwest region was dominated by Uzbek. Uh, Uzbek took the control took the control of Safavid territory, and Akbar was Akbar does not want Uzbek to rule the Kabul and Kandahar region. So he shifted the capital in Lahore to be prepared for Uzbek attack. And in 1598, he reshifted the capital to Agra. And from 1598 to 1605, Akbar ruled from Agra. Regarding Navratna of Akbar, there are nine gems in Akbar court. One is first one is Abul Fazl. He was court historian. He authored Akbarnama and Aine Akbari. He led the Mughal army in its war in Deccan region. And on the order of Prince Salim, he was killed by Bir Singh Bundela of Bundelkhand region. Second gem of Akbar court was Abul Faji. Abul Faji was brother of Abul Fazl and he was court poet. He was a great Persian poet and brother of Abul Fazl, and under his supervision, the Mahabharata was translated into Persian language. He also translated Lilavati, a work of mathematics, into Persian language. Then the next gem was Tansen. He was disciple of Haridas and used to compose in Braj Bhasa. King Bikramajit of Gwalior granted the title of Tansen to him. He served as a great musician in the court of Raja Ramchandra of Rewa region, and his original name was Ram. His original name was Ramtanu, and Akbar gave him the title of Mia, so he became Mia Tansen. Akbar also granted him the title of Kantbharan Vani Vilas. Next gem was Raja Birbal. His original name was Mahesh Das. He was in service of Raja Ramchandra of Rewa, same as Tansen, and he worked under the ruler Raja Ramchandra with title of Brahma Kavi. Later got employed by Akbar, who gave him the title of Raja and named him Birbal. He died on northwest frontier fighting against Afghan rebel. Next gem was Raja Todarmal. He was Wazir of Akbar. He was employed by Sher Sasuri and later served in the Mughal Empire. He was the head of revenue system under Akbar. He introduced standard weight and measure, and Akbar honored him with the title of Diwane Asraf. And next gem was Raja Man Singh, and he was one of the trusted general of Akbar. Akbar used to call him Farjand or son. And next gem was Fakir Ajiuddin. He was one of the chief advisor of Akbar, and he was a Sufi mystic or Sufi saint. Next gem was Abdul Rahim Khane Khana. Abdul Rahim Khane Khana was son of Baram Khan. He got the title of Khane Khan by Akbar, and he translated Babarnama into Persian language. And next, another gem of Akbar court was Mullah Do Pyaja. He was advisor of Akbar and he was jealous of Birbal. There was competition between Birbal and Mullah Do Pyaja to dominate the court. Administration of Akbar did not make any change in local governance, and the territorial division of the Sultanate time period continued. In Sultanate time period, there was four division. First one is province, then province, then Sikh, then Pargana, then village. So this division continued during the time period of Akbar, and during the time period of Akbar, the province were known as Suba, then Sikh or Sarkar, then Pargana, and then village. And the officer were named different from Sultanate time period. In Mughal time period, the Suba was governed by Subedar, and the account was monitored by Diwan. And at Sikh level or Sarkar level, there was Fauzdar and Amal Gujar. And at Pargana level, there was Amil or Munsif, and at village level, there was Mukaddam and Patwari. Regarding land division, land was divided into three main category. One is Inam land. Inam land was granted to religious authority. Akbar granted Inam land to all religions, with half of the Inam land for cultivation purpose. Jagir, granted to military officers or Jagirdar in lieu of service, and it was land revenue right only. Land ownership will remain with local residents. Then third one was Khalsa land, and it was land under direct control of the king. The important officers of Mughal administrations were Wazir. Wazir was PM in Safavid dynasty. Akbar reduced the power of Wazir to finance matter only and used the term Vakil or Diwane Ala. And the next one is Mir Bakshi. Mir Bakshi was head of military department. Barid or intelligence officer and Vakya Navis or reporter were subordinate to Mir Bakshi. So Mir Bakshi was more powerful than Wazir, Vakil or Diwane Ala. Mir Samman and Khane Saman in charge of royal household and harem. Harem was female resident. Karkhanas was were royal workshop to provide supply to royal household or under Mir Saman. Kaji were judicial officer and Sadars were religious charity officer. And during the Mughal time, the post Kaji and Sadar was merged, and it was under control of Kaji. Military reform by Akbar. So Akbar introduced ranking system in administration. He introduced Mansab or ranking system, and Mansab was assigned to every officer. Rank or Mansab at the time of introduction was he started the Mansab system with rank 10 to 5,000, but during the last year of Akbar reign, he increased the rank from he increased the range of rank Mansab from 10 to 7,000. Mansabdari or ranking system. It was non-hereditary. It was the job of Mir Bakshi, head of military department, to advise the ruler regarding allocation of Mansab, who will get which army post. Once the advice of Mir Bakshi is accepted by the ruler, a confirmation is sent to Diwane Ala or Vakil, whose job is to assign Jagir as per assigned mansab or rank. So if a person get a mansab, then the next job was assigning Jagir to him. Initially, there was one ranking system, but in 1595, uh, Akbar started the subdivision of rank or mansab based on Jat and Sawar. Jat was number of foot soldiers and Sawar was number of cavalries. And you can see the chart in this chart. You can see in first row you will find mansab of 1000 rank. So in initial period, a jat with one a man a army officer with 1000 jat under him was of rank 1000, and but in later time period there was subdivision in mansab. There was class 1, class 2, and class 3. Class 1 mansab where jat with 1000 one mansabdar with 1000 jat under him, and uh, roughly 1000 sawar under him. And second class was for those mansabdar who had 1000 jat and less than 500 sawar under him. And in class 3, um, there was 1000 jat under him and less than 500 sawar under him. And in second row there was description of mansabdar with rank 2000. So initially a mansabdar who had 2000 jat under him was mansab of rank 2000, but in later period there was subdivision based on sawar. So uh, I for in class 1, uh, a mansabdar with 2000 jat under him and same number of sawar under him was ranked as class 1. And regarding class 2, a mansab with 2000 jat under him and more than half of jat, the number of sawar must be more than half of the number of jat, is assigned class 2. And in class 3, the number of jat is equal to number of mansab, and the class is decided based on number of sawar. If number of sawar is less than half of the number of jat, then it will be class 3. So instead of 2000, I wrote down 1000 in second row, but it will be 2000. And regarding mansabdar has to maintain a stipulated number of elephants, carts, and many more items after getting a mansab. In A horseman with two horses or more was considered as one sawar, and a horseman with one horse only was considered as half sawar in Akbar time period. So, and during the reign of Akbar, records were maintained to mark the army personnel and army horses by the Chehra and Dag system, respectively. Uh, for army personnel, there was a recording of Chehra, uh, maintaining of description of Chehra, and for horses there was branding system or Dag system. An officer was appointed by Akbar. An officer was appointed by Akbar to investigate the horses of all Mansab, and only good quality horses were employed for royal services. Arabic and Iraqi horses were employed for royal services. To weaken the ethnic or religion-based revolt, provision were made that the contingents of a mansab should be of mixed one. Jat and Sawar should be drawn from all groups: Pathan, Mughal, Rajput, and other groups. And in previous slide I said mansabdar for all rank, but there was different designation based on rank. The less than 500 rank was known as mansabdar. From 500 to 2500 rank were known as amir, and more than greater than 2500 rank jat were known as amire umda or umdae ajam. Mughal administration regarding Jagir system. There were two type of Jagirs. One is conditional and another one is unconditional. And there are few namings regarding Jagirs. One is Masrud Jagir. Masrud Jagir was conditional Jagirs. Jagirs assigned on certain conditions. Then there was Tankha Jagir. Tankha means salary, so it was given in lieu of salary. Then Vatan Jagir, it was unconditional Jagir. It was hereditary Jagirs given to Jamidar or Raja in their local dominion, like Raja Bharmal of our Amer region. So he got the Amer region as Vatan Jagir. When a Jamidar was appointed as Mansabdar, he was given Tankha Jagir in addition to his Vatan Jagir. And when his salary was greater than revenue of Vatan Jagir, then he then Mansabdar get an additional Tankha Jagir. Al Tamga Jagir, it was assigned to Muslim nobles in their hometown or place of birth, same as Vatan Jagir. Regarding economic reform or tax reform, there was estimation of produce. There is two step involved in uh, tax revenue system or agriculture tax system. One is produce estimation and another one is tax collection. So how to estimate the production of agriculture commodity? There were three methods during the reign of Akbar. One is by actual produce, monitoring actual produce at every at every crop season, and it was troublesome because of corrupt officials. Then second method was by area measurement. In this method, the officer used to measure the agriculture land area, and based on the land area they used to estimate the agriculture produce. So actual produce can be different than the estimation, but no requirement of frequent measurement. Like in actual produce method, there was monitoring of actual produce at every crop season. But in area measurement, once the area was measured, there was no need to again measure the same area. And third method was by previous year record, and in this method no requirement of frequent measurement, same as area measurement. And regarding tax collection, it was done either in cash or in kind means uh, taking the crop, taking the share of crop. So, tax was one third of agriculture produce, and regarding tax collection system, there was batai or ghala bakshi system. It was kind or cash collection method. In this method, there was no measurement of land, and one third of produce as cash or kind based on current production. So uh, what was the produce at the time of production, officer used to monitor the produce, and based on the produce they used to divide one third of produce. And the division, there were two type of division. One is khet batai and another one is lang batai. In khet batai, division was done when crops were standing in the field, and in lang batai, division was done after cutting the crop. Then second one was Nusk. Nusk was estimation method in Bengal region, and it was collection of tax based on last year tax revenue record. Then third one is Kankut or Danabandi. The Kan means grain and Kut means estimation. So it was again estimation method, and it was revenue estimation of large area. In Nusk system, the revenue estimation was done for one farmer or one peasant, but in Kanpur system, revenue estimation was done for large area, uh, like on village level. So it was done over a group of large agriculture field. Then fourth one is Japti or Bandobast system. And in this, the tax was collected in cash only. The system was introduced by Todermal. In this system, sown land area was measured with bamboo linked to iron ring or tanab for tax collection purpose. Then next one is Dasala, and Dasala was again in Dasala system. The tax collection was again cash only, and it was again introduced by Todormal. and it was an evolved version of Japti system or Bandobast system. The system is based on average produce and average price of 10 years of any crop. It is not a 10-year settlement or permanent settlement. The settlement was done with uh, crop season or yearly based on a 10-year average. Akbar standardized the land measurement unit with Ilahi Gaj. Akbar replaced Sikandri Gaj, which was introduced by Sikandar Lodi. In cash collection, the prevailing price of crop at capital or Agra was used, which was generally higher than the countryside region. So, countryside peasant paid more than one third of tax because first they have to cultivate agriculture item, then after cultivation they have to sell their agriculture produce, and the price was low in countryside region, so they get less price. But at the time of collecting tax, the officer used to demand one third of one third of commodity price, which one third of commodity price, and the price level was same as capital city. So they used to pay more tax than one third of agriculture produced in. So the countryside peasant used to pay more tax than one third of agriculture produce. So to avoid this problem, Akbar made territorial division for tax collection based on local produce and local price. So the region of same produce and same price level were categorized as one region. For for a few crops like cotton, indigo, oilseed, and sugarcane, etc., tax was collected in cash only, no kind collection. So these crops were called cash crops. Todarmal served both Sher Shah Suri and Akbar in economic reforms. With the focus on local production per biga, land was divided into three categories for tax collection purpose. Parati was Pola's land in fallow year, land which was not cultivated for 1 year but recultivated in next year. So there was cultivation in alternate year, and the tax on Parati land was same as Pola's tax, but if it was cultivated. Then third one was Chachar. Chachar was land fallow for 2 to 3 years, and Banjar land was land fallow for 3 plus years. To increase the agriculture, Akbar granted Chachar and Banjar land at and concessional tax rate and raised it to tax at Polaj land in fifth or eighth year of cultivation. Akbar asked Amil were Pargana officers, so Akbar asked Amil to act as a father to the peasants and to provide them takkavi loan. Uh, Kanungo were keeper of land records. They used to maintain the land record after the measurement of land. They used to monitor the land record. Local level corrupt officer who concealed the real produce to get extra share for themselves. So Akbar appointed Karoris, and the job of Karoris is to check the authenticity of figure or record supplied by Kanungo. After economic reform, let's see social reform by Akbar. By Akbar. In the initial period, his religious leader was Abdul Latif, and after getting married to Rajput princess, Akbar became tolerant to different religions. He allowed his Hindu wife to perform Hindu puja in the royal palace. He started granting Inam land for religion to all religions, and he tried to separate religion and governance, for which he was criticized by contemporary orthodox elements. In 1562, Akbar abolished forceful religious conversion of slave and also abolished enslaving war captive. In 1563, he abolished pilgrim tax on non-Muslim. Then in 1564, he abolished jizya tax. Later, jizya tax was imposed by Aurangzeb. In 1575, he uh, he built Ibadat Khana at Fatehpur Sikri for Muslim scholars only, but in 1507, in 1578 he opened Ibadat Khana for all religion, including atheists, for religious discussion. And in 1579, when there was conflict between ulema and Mughal Emperor Akbar, so in 1579 he issued Majhar, drafted by Sheikh Mubarak Nagori. Sheikh Mubarak Nagori was father of Abu Fajl and Abul Faji. And in Majhar, it was written, in case of difference in opinion of Badshah and Ulema, Badshah opinion will prevail. So he tried to get to show supremacy over ulema in case of governance. In 1582, he closed Ibadat Khana and he established Tawhid Ilahi or Deen Ilahi. And in 1583, he started Ilahi Era. His religious tolerance led to the translation work of Sanskrit text into Persian language. Mahabharat, Ramayana, Atharvaved, Bhagavad Gita, and Panchtantra were translated from Sanskrit to Persian language. Mullah Abdul Qadir Badayuni translated Ramayana and Singhasan Battisi. Abul Faizi translated Panchtantra. The translation of Bible also happened during the Akbar reign, and probably for the first time Quran was translated into Persian language. Quran was originally in Arabic language, and probably it was the first time during the reign of Akbar the Quran was translated into Persian language. Tawhid Ilahi or Deen Ilahi. To gain religious knowledge, Akbar started Ibadat Khana for religious discussion from scholars of all religions. When the Ibadat Khana turned into a verbal battlefield for scholars of different religions, Akbar closed the Ibadat Khana and established a Sufi order named Tawhid Ilahi with emphasis on Sulahi Kul, peace among religion. The Tawhid-e-Ilahi contained good points of different religions. The murid or disciples were allowed to join Deen-e-Ilahi or Tawhid-e-Ilahi on Sunday only after reciting the Sasta. Only 19 court members joined the Tawhid-e-Ilahi because of granting large donation. Because after joining Tawhid Ilahi, after becoming murid of Tawhid Ilahi, they have to make large donation. So very few people join the Tawhid Ilahi Sufi order. Birbal was the only Hindu to join Tawhid Ilahi. Other members who joined Tawhid Ilahi were Abul Fajl, Abul Faizi, and Abdul Samad. Akbar introduced Pavos and Sajda, which was reserved for God only. And but in Sultanate time period, Pabos and Sajda was introduced by Balban, and Akbar also introduced Pabos and Sajda. Then Tawhid-e-Ilahi did not flourish and came to an end after the death of Akbar. And Akbar was heavily criticized by his court historian Abdul Qadir Badayuni, who branded Tawhid-e-Ilahi as new religion instead of Sufi order. Ahmad Sarhindi, Sufi saint of Naqshbandi, called Tawhid as un-Islamic. He was arrested during the reign of Jahangir for continuously asking to impose orthodoxic rule and restricting the freedom of Hindus. Apart from religious reforms, Akbar made lot of social and educational reforms, like he abolished enslaving people or family in war, uh, enslaving war captives. He banned the sati practice and allowed sati practice only if woman decided to be sati by her own will. He also legalized widow remarriage, and he was against polygamy. No second marriage was allowed if first wife is no second marriage was allowed, and second marriage was allowed if first wife is not able to produce offspring. Uh, but his son Salim or Jahangir had 300 wives. He raised marriages. He raised marriages for female. He made the marriage age as 14, and for male he made the marriage age as 16. He restricted the sales of wine and spirits, and he put more emphasis on moral, secular and science subject in education field. And he regulated prostitution, and to control. Uh, he tried to restrict or control woman trafficking in his territory. Literature in in Mughal Empire time period, Humayun Nama was written in Persian language by Gulbadan Begum. Gulbadan Begum was sister of Humayun. Then Akbar Nama was written in Persian language by Abul Fazl. Akbar Nama is written in three parts. Part one is regarding part part one describe the initial life of Akbar from his birth to second battle of Panipat. Part 1 describes life of Akbar from 1542 to 1556. Then part 2 describes life of Akbar from 1556 to 1602. And part 3rd is known as Aine Akbari, and it was related to administration, social life and other aspect of Akbar Empire or Mughal Empire. Then other book related to biography of Akbar were Ta- Tabakat-e Akbari was written by Khwaja Nijamuddin Ahmad. Then another book was Munthkhab ut Tarikh or Tarikh-e Badayuni. It was written by Abdul Qadir Badayuni. Um, it was written in two parts. First part is regarding Babur and Humayun, and it started with the empire of Ghazni and described up to the rule of Humayun. And second part described the reign of Akbar up to 1595. In the second part, Badayuni heavily criticized Akbar, so the second part was hidden so that Akbar did not came to know the criticism by Badayuni. And the second part got published in 1616 during the reign of Jahangir, 10 years after the death of Akbar. Gold Golconda ruler Kuli Qutub Shah, contemporary of Akbar, was first to introduce a secular note in poetry. He wrote about nature, love, and social life. Ali Adil Shah II, who ruled from 1580 to 1627, and he was ruler of Bijapur. He wrote a book named Kitabe Noras, and he also wrote song in praise of goddess Saraswati. Translation work during the reign of Akbar. Many of Hindu texts, Bible and Quran were translated into Persian language during the reign of Akbar. Tujuke Baburi was written in Chagtai Turk. It was translated into Persian language by Abdul Rahim Khane Khana, and it was known as Babarnama. Then Ramayana and Mahabharat were translated into Persian language by Abdul Qadir Badayuni, and Ramayana was known as Radmanama in Persian language. Then Panchtantra was translated into Persian language by Abul Faizi. Regarding painting department, there was Karkhana, painting Karkhana that was set up by Akbar. Abdul uh, Abdul Samad and Sayyid Ali came to India from Iran during the reign of Humayun, but painting department was established by Akbar during the reign of Akbar. Artists of painting department were Abdul Samad and Mir Sayyid Ali. They came India during the reign of Humayun. Then other painters of Akbar during the reign of Akbar were Kesudas, Daswant, Bhaswan, Basavan, Govardhan, and Ustad Mansoor. Daswant, Daswant added miniature paintings to Persian translated book, Persian translated version of Ramayana and Mahabharata. Uh, During the reign of Akbar, addition of miniature painting to Tutinama was done, and the Portuguese priest introduced European painting at the court of Akbar, at, at Akbar court. Regarding architecture development during the reign of Akbar, uh, Akbar established new capital at Fatehpur Sikri. He established many forts, including Fatehpur Fort and Buland Darwaja at Fatehpur to commemorate Gujarat victory. Then Red Fort at Agra. He also built Diwane-Am and Diwane Khas in Red Fort. Then Lahore Fort, then Allahabad Fort. Uh, 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 During the reign of Akbar, Humayun's tomb was built by Hamida Banu Begum. Hamida Banu Begum was widow of Humayun, and he built Humayun tomb in Charbagh style, and Charbagh style was precursor to Taj. Then there was Akbar tomb at Sikandrabad, and it was built by his son Jahangir. This is the end of lecture. Thank you.